Hi, this is Shannon Price, the Mind Mechanic, helping you navigate your life. Welcome, and thanks for tuning in to today's podcast. My goal in life is to change the way people see and treat themselves, to educate, empower, and evolve. I've dedicated a huge portion of my life to help each person become the best version of who they are, one step at a time, and teach them how to continue to do this for the rest of their lives. You and I have one thing in common. We want to constantly improve our lives and be the very best version of ourselves. Many people have lived their lives pretty much the same way for a very long time. Stuck. You are capable of making the biggest transformation of your life. You are capable of becoming unstuck. Now, if you consider all those ways we have made ourselves feel stuck, then becoming unstuck is just a change in perspective, a change of mindset, and a change of behavior. How would it feel if you couldn't find that feeling of anxiety or fear any longer? Because you know how to control it and take charge. What is it that you struggle with internally that causes the most external anxiety and emotion or action that you just wish would stop? Well, I know how to help you help yourself. And I know how to make it stop once and for all. What if you could spend just a little time with me to learn how to do that for yourself for the rest of your life? Today's podcast is entitled The Problem. So the problem is not anxiety. That's not the problem. Maybe you've seen a lot of ads and posts lately on social media that are claiming to be there to help people with their anxiety. And yet they put a disproportionately high focus on encouraging self-diagnosis of an anxiety disorder. I totally understand that when we suffer high levels of anxiety on a daily basis for seemingly no reason, it can be important that those feelings are recognized and validated rather than just being dismissed as, well, we all feel anxious at times, you know. Well, I get that. The problem occurs when a well-meaning anxiety awareness channel puts up a helpful, say, informational graphic describing the symptoms of an anxiety disorder, and then it fails to explain what the realities of that means. So suddenly the diagnosis of, well, Dr. Instagram has become our new major concern. But let's put a little less emphasis on the word diagnosis, which, let's face it, creates and amplifies any anxiety. And let's put a little bit more emphasis on understanding. So if you've seen one of those posts and managed to convince yourself that you have an anxiety disorder and that you now face a lifelong struggle with anxiety, then please hear this. A disorder is not a genetic flaw. It is not a cognitive malfunction or chemical imbalance. Disorder is not a permanent state. Disorder means a state of confusion. Disorder means that your mind has started to offer up muddled, exaggerated, or totally inappropriate emotional responses. These are not something you were born with. You weren't born with them. Something just happened, and your mind started to respond in a way you now regard as completely unhelpful. But the good news is, yay, you're not locked into this. The good news is that we continue to learn throughout our entire lives. And the good news is that once we clear up that confusion in our mind, we really do get to put things back in order. So it really doesn't matter whether or not you choose to label your emotional responses as disordered, because these feelings and responses are transient, and they will continue to change as your understanding about them grows. Please don't fear anxiety. And don't fear a label that somebody else has defined for you. Keep growing, keep learning, keep changing, and keep doing your best, because that only gets better every day. It is, after all, very easy to feel sort of ill when there's a part of our mind creating a constant, unwanted, and inappropriate response to normal everyday situations. If we feel too anxious for too long, we may even get formally diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. However, it's often just that rhetoric of illness that locks us into that anxiety response. Every day, we wake up and check to see how anxious we feel. Is it going to be a good day, or is it going to be an anxious day? Well, of course, checking and scanning yourself to see how anxious you feel is already an anxious thing to do. The very act of scanning ourselves often creates that anxiety that we fear. In other words, if you look for it, well, yeah, you're going to find it, whether it's real or not. If we regard anxiety as an indicator of illness, finding any at all makes us even more anxious. When I started to get involved in helping people overcome their anxiety issues, it was of paramount importance to me that people stopped believing they were ill. It's a vital part of the journey to make peace with our own emotional responses. Only once we accept them do we actually start to control them, and we only accept them if we recognize them as a healthy part of who we are. Remember this: anxiety is emotion. It is an emotion, not an illness. It is an emotion. You were meant to feel it. You are not broken. You don't need fixing. You are not ill, but you can get control. In case you've been trying to get rid of anxiety, it's worth remembering that your goal is not to be completely free of anxiety, because only dead people and psychopaths feel zero anxiety, right? They have no emotion to feel. Feeling anxious is to be alive and functioning as a human. It doesn't mean you're sick. You need anxiety to tell when something is coming up. Good things, exciting things, as well as the not so great stuff. Feeling anxious means that you care. You care what's happening. It does not mean that you're broken and lost. Feeling anxious means there are things in your mind, and your mind is trying to focus on them. It does not mean you have a disorder. So just in case you were beginning to think that you might be developing an anxiety problem, hey, don't be afraid to remind yourself that there's some major stuff happening right now. Of course you feel anxious. It's happening all around us, and it has been. So don't try and push it away. Just listen to what that part of you is trying to say. What is it trying to tell you? If you actually listen to your concerns, That's really the first step towards calming them down. So work out the things that you can do something about and the things you can do nothing about. Then treat them accordingly. Because we only have control over our emotions and reactions. We don't really have control over what happens. But of all the things you currently feel anxious about, make sure your own anxiety level is not one of them. Okay, now take a deep breath. You've earned it. We have to learn how to manage ourselves better in this world. And you can change your world. Listen, there's a great need and desire to bring really educated people who can help teach our children emotional wellness and intelligence. And the same is true for corporations. The same is true for police, prisons, anything you can think of. So schools teach all sorts of things in terms of book learning, and all those things will hopefully be useful when those kids, those people get out into the real world, the business world, and start making their own life decisions. Hey, but so far, there really is no education on how to manage emotions. And you know who could benefit the most from this? Yes, our kids, our children. The biggest innovation and revolution in education is going to be when we can begin to teach people, and I mean people of all ages, how to protect themselves from the negative input of information and misinformation, and give them the tools to manage their own emotional wellness for life. That's what I do. Anxiety is a natural emotion, and we will feel it to some degree almost every day of our life. So if you're anxious, that means you're alive and that you value your happiness. And that, my friends, is a good thing. So if you need help, if you want me to help you figure this out, just let me know. Contact me. My contact details, email, contact me at Control Fitness. It is the word control and the word fitness all run together, controlfitness@aol.com. You can also find me at www.spthemindmechanic.com, my website. There you can find a lot of help. You can also set up a consultation with me, and you can do that anytime, anywhere. I am actually all over Facebook, Instagram, social media. Find me. I will be under my name, Shannon Price, or I will be under The Mind Mechanic or Shannon's Ageless Fitness. But you can find me. And if you want to listen to more of these podcasts, just find them on all your favorite listening sites like Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio. And they're also on my website at www.sp, that's Shannon Price, of course, spthemindmechanic.com/podcasts. And I hope you have a regular, normal day with happiness, and you're not scanning yourself for that anxiety. Okay, I'm going to talk to you later, but I love you and take care. I want you to have a great day. They have no emotion to feel because they don't feel emotions.